Poland is right in the middle of a geopolitical crossfire. This election matters a lot. Now all its eyes are on the presidential race. Two contenders in the spotlight and two powerful rivals behind the scenes. Will this end the political deadlock, or is this a shift back to the right? The Polish presidential elections are finally over. And yes, we actually have a winner. Now you're probably thinking, didn't Poland just have an election? And you'd be right. In Poland, presidential elections are held in 2 rounds. The first round took place 2 weeks ago, where 13 candidates faced off, all vying for the top spot. In the end, Rafał Trzaskowski, from the centrist Civic Platform and a close ally of Donald Tusk, secured 31.4% of the vote. Karol Nawrocki, an independent backed by the Conservative Law and Justice Party, in short PiS, came in second with 29.5% of the vote. But in Poland, to win outright in the first round, a candidate has to win more than 50% of the national vote to clinch the presidency outright. And that almost never happens. So typically, the 2 top candidates move to a second round. And that's exactly what happened this time. Trzaskowski and Nawrocki advanced to the second round, which took place last night and determined Poland's president for the next 5 years. And the 2 leaders could not be more different. Karol Nawrocki's platform leans heavily nationalist, campaigning under the slogan Poland First, Poles First. He's known for his anti-migrant Eurosceptic rhetoric, framing Poland as a sovereign nation that should resist deeper European integration. Here's how he put it.
Nie zgadzam się na to, aby Unia Europejska decydowała o naszym wymiarze sprawiedliwości, o naszej edukacji, aby ideologia Zielonego Ładu niszczyła polskie rolnictwa. My wchodziliśmy do innej Unii Europejskiej. My wchodziliśmy do Unii Europejskiej, która jest wspólnotą gospodarczą.
Nawrocki is also an outspoken admirer of Donald Trump. Much like Trump, he campaigns on opposing immigration and rejecting what he calls woke values, and prioritizing bilateral ties with the United States over Brussels. He's even met Trump at the White House and reportedly received his endorsement. He's also an amateur boxer, often showcasing his skills on stage. Trzaskowski, on the other hand, promotes a more liberal, pro-European vision for Poland. He's the mayor of Warsaw, and he's a vocal critic of the kind of populist and nationalist politics that Trump represents. Instead, he supports closer integration with EU leaders, especially with the newly energized Weimar Triangle, and is focused on pushing through rule of law reforms to align with EU values and secure access to EU funds. On foreign policy, both candidates agree on the need to spend heavily on defense. As for Ukraine, Trzaskowski sees Ukraine's future inside the EU and potentially even NATO, framing support for Kyiv as essential to European security. Nawrocki, on the other hand, while supporting Ukraine's fight against Russia, draws the line at full EU or NATO membership. On immigration, Trzaskowski supports aid for Ukrainian refugees, but backs tighter benefits and asylum limits at the Belarus border. Nawrocki takes a stricter line, prioritizing Poles and curbing refugee support. Now, there are lots of differences on a more local level too, but as we are a channel about the EU, we will not go into detail there. So, without further ado, what were the results? Well, it was very close, but in the end, the conservative Karol Nawrocki won the Polish presidency, just edging out Rafał Trzaskowski by a couple of percentage points. It's a major victory, and likely a setback for Brussels. Relations between the EU and the law and justice camp have been strained for years, to say the very least, and there's little sign of that tension easing anytime soon. And Poland's president is more than just a ceremonial figure. You see, in Poland's semi-presidential system, there are 2 key roles: the president and the prime minister. The prime minister, currently Donald Tusk from the Civic Platform, is the head of government and holds significant executive power, overseeing the day-to-day operations of the country. The president, now Nawrocki, supported by PiS, plays a more symbolic role in day-to-day politics, but holds a few very important powers. He's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, appoints top military officials, and crucially, has the authority to veto legislation. While the Polish parliament can override this presidential veto, it requires a 3/5 majority, something Tusk simply doesn't have. For example, Tusk attempted to reverse the controversial judicial reforms introduced by the Law and Justice government. These reforms violated EU law, and Tusk wanted them gone. But then President Andrzej Duda blocked the repeal with a veto, leaving the government stuck. And with Nawrocki now in office, the gridlock is only likely to deepen. He enters with a fresh mandate, born from what was effectively a referendum on Tusk's government. Tusk now faces a lame duck period, likely to last until the 2027 parliamentary elections, making any meaningful reform nearly impossible. This could really mark the beginning of the end of his government. And as one senior peace lawmaker put it, from Tuesday, we will begin very energetic work to give the Polish people another gift, the end of Tusk's government. Now, this shift will have EU-wide consequences. Nawrocki supports PiS's vision of building alternative alliances with the EU, particularly with Slovakia and Hungary. He's also deeply skeptical of Europe's move towards strategic autonomy. For instance, he opposes efforts to build EU defense capabilities outside of NATO structures, and has been critical of reducing reliance on the US. He's a Trumpist at heart. Nawrocki sees Washington as Poland's only credible security partner. So yes, the revived Weimar Triangle and any momentum with Germany under Chancellor Merz may not last. Poland's internal gridlock will surely increasingly limit its role on the European stage. But what do you think? Are you happy with Poland's new direction? And are you optimistic about the Nawrocki presidency? Let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. And if you are interested in seeing how Germany is trying to rearm to help defend our continent, check out this analysis here. And to support us further, consider joining us on Patreon and vote on video ideas every week. And thank you so much to our presidents, Jan, Schauke, Christian, Peter, HEVD, Unite Europe, Stefan, and Mr. Probot. See you in the next video.